Welcome everyone to the first stream of Outer Coincidence. And this is going to be a show where we just kind of go over some current events, kind of give some takes on things. We may or may not be generated by the AI algorithms and just have some fun. So I'm joined here with Robbie. How's it going, man?
It's going. Just doing life.
Doing the live thing can kick you in the nuts sometimes, can it?
Seems to be a pretty frequent thing with me.
I've been going down the health journey myself and been listening to a lot of these Jordan Peterson podcasts and this guy Robert Breedlove. I've been really enjoying his stuff recently. But yeah, man. Um, yeah, we were talking before and kind of coming up with a little bit of a plan for the stream tonight. To talk a little bit about technology in the body, in the food, and have some examples of that to talk about tonight. Yeah, I get my qualifications. I did a online school at DeVry and got a honorary degree in coincidence theory.
Yeah, yeah. I've got a degree in that as well.
So
I got nominated as CEO for the tinfoil hat company.
oh. Well, what are you telling me? I shoved my head into the microwave and the tinfoil's melting a little bit. But yeah, I kind of just kind of wanted to talk about some stories, some things, some current events, maybe some books, some research, kind of whatever is going on in the current world, and where things might be headed, and just kind of having fun, joking about stuff and what our thoughts are on this stuff. So
you got to laugh about it, or you just cry. So
that's why I wanted to do this, because I wanted to kind of be like, all right, let's kind of take a silly look at some of this, because you're right, it's like clown world. So,
well, the most recent thing I was hearing that the Epstein release was a big flop.
Yeah, man, I just saw on Twitter that they released some stuff through the FBI, and the files are about it's
mostly stuff that everybody already knows.
Yeah, Derek Bros brought this up a little while. I mean, he keeps bringing it up. I follow Derek Bros on Twitter, and he is talking about we already had the Black Book has already been released.
Yeah.
But those are the people that were on the flight logs or whatever, or people that have had some kind of business with Epstein. So,
well, supposedly Glenn Beck was saying earlier today that he had heard that the New York FBI office was not complying, and they said they were either going to destroy the records or not release them. And so we'll see what happens.
Yeah. It's definitely a limited hangout, so that's kind of what Derek Bros' take is here. Let's see if I can pull this up on Twitter. So let's see. This is what he's saying here. The rumor today is Trump's AG Pam Bondi is going to release more Epstein files. These may be new names related to the client list in Ghislaine Maxwell's Black Book. As you can guess, I am skeptical that this will be any new information or anything beyond scandalous celebrity names. I am concerned we are witnessing a limited hangout relating to Epstein, especially because we know how close Epstein and Trump were. We already know that Epstein was financed and backed by folks like Les Wexner, the founder of Limited Brand and Victoria's Secret. Wexner was part of the Mega Group, a small group of wealthy Jewish financiers who said that their goal was to support the Zionist mission. I want more details about that, more than I want names of celebrities or politicians. Obviously, everyone who was truly involved should be held accountable, but we should go all the way to the top of the Epstein network. And of course, someone being in a black book or receiving a massage doesn't automatically mean they committed a crime. They should be questioned publicly, though.
Yeah, they just need to target the people that were involved in all the human trafficking stuff, and the rest of it, who cares? Like you said, who cares if you're, if you're a grown politician, you go off with a paid date, big deal.
With a consenting adult.
Yeah, consenting adult. Now, if you're in the trafficking area, that is a big deal.
Yeah,
and supposedly there was a lot of that, but
that's how the game goes, man. So like,
yeah.
In Whitney Webb's book, The One Nation Under Blackmail, it talks about how these guys have become very sophisticated. There's a guy, Roy Cohn, who supposedly worked with Donald Trump and kind of taught him some of the things about blackmail. And
Roy Cohn was he was kind of a bigwig up in that area, politically wise. He had a bunch of connections. I've been meaning to get that Whitney Webb book. I saw her on Redacted not too long ago, and they were talking about that. I thought, well, I need to get on there and order that.
Yeah, I just start I start books but don't finish them a lot of times, and so
I'm bad about that too. I get about 3/4 of the way through, and then
I got like three chapters into it where she was talking about how this guy, I think his name was Sam Bronfman, who was part of bringing in alcohol into Canada during Prohibition, and made quite a bit of money off of that enterprise. And it's kind of like this whole kind of setting up the story of how a lot of these illegal activities are used to fund other things,
I think that's been going on for a good long time. It's just you have to get on up in age a little bit to kind of wake up to it. I know when I was younger, I used to think a lot of things were that were not.
Yeah, Sam Bronfman, Canadian businessman, philanthropist, member of Canadian Bronfman family, founded Distillers Corporation Limited and purchased the Seagram Company that became the world's largest liquor distilling firm. So yeah, apparently, he was buying a lot of the illegal alcohol that was being moved around the country in Canada.
So what was that during the Prohibition era?
Yeah, so his sales were boosted during the United States' abortive experiment with prohibition, and apparently able to do so while staying within the confines of Canadian law, where prohibition laws had been previously repealed, and American law. Um, so, so yeah, he kind of like was able to, I guess, like get all this alcohol from people smuggling it into Canada, and uh, you know brought in brought in all these American liquors and stuff. Uh,
Wow.
during the time of Prohibition.
Now, Whitney Webb gets pretty deep into some of that stuff, and um, she talks about Palantir a good bit. That company, Palantir,
oh
they're
yeah,
like a big cybersecurity type company. Well, I've been doing a lot of looking at stocks and crypto and stuff lately, and I keep seeing this thing where Palantir is investing billions and billions of dollars into nanobiotech.
uh-huh.
Um, I can't think of the name of the company right off the top of my head that they're investing all this money in. But when I saw that, I instantly thought about Whitney Webb talking about Palantir. Uh, and that, if I'm not mistaken, don't they have ties to Israeli intelligence and the CIA and stuff?
Yes, I think Lavender might be
Yeah,
something that's tied to Palantir. The Lavender AI, which is supposedly tracking, you know, uh, the Palestinians, and figuring out if they are uh, a threat, basically, kind of giving them a threat assignment.
yeah.
Uh, Lavender AI, and I believe that was tied in with Palantir.
Now, I may be mistaken about this, but it seems like that Israel, not too long ago, did a drone strike in the Palestinian area, and it was AI driven.
Oh, really?
Uh, yeah, from what I understand, each drone, at least from what I had read, each drone was directed by AI, but they had up to 200 casualties per drone was acceptable losses for the AI system was programmed in. And when you have these little miniature drones and you send out a swarm of them, you send out 50 of them or 100, that's potentially a heck of a lot of people,
Yeah, that's
you know?
yeah, something that we've come across recently was somebody posted a little mini. I can't remember what these little devices are called, but they shoot like multiple rounds of at a single time. And this guy posted on X like a little 3D printed one that's supposed to use like shotgun shells to like go acquire a drone target and send out all these like shotgun shells towards it.
Oh, it throws pellets out towards the drone.
Yeah, like bird shot,
Oh,
like
yeah,
all
yeah.
out towards the drone. I can't remember what those devices are called. Some kind of like swarm. Um,
Well,
uh,
yeah, I mean the military's been developing the drones. They're getting smaller and smaller, and they're packing explosives into things so that they can get a
yeah.
real small little footprint, about this big. You won't even see it coming. They just run right into you and explode.
Uh huh.
And they can make those for a couple $1,000 versus the $1 million they spend with one of those predator strikes.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. Like there was this documentary called Darwin's War. I don't know if you've ever run across it, but uh, it shows how these guys in Ukraine are like hiding out, and oh my gosh, well, they took the video down on YouTube anyway.
What are you trying to look up?
Okay, never mind. Here we go. Here, I'll play this for you. This is kind of wild. Let's see. Let me share the screen real quick here. Can you hear my audio?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna play this real quick.
Another mission is launched. One of dozens in a single day from this one secret location alone. The team leader, a 21-year-old, call sign Darwin, an ace pilot of FPV suicide drones.
Зараз я лечу в район зосередження різних кацапських штук.
FPV stands for first person view. Like any good hunter, he's able to hit moving targets, choosing carefully the moment to strike. This explosives-laden dugout is well within Russian artillery range. We're very close to the Russian front line, just a few miles away, which is necessary to maintain their real-time video link. It's pretty much nonstop artillery shelling outside, but Darwin maintains his concentration as he flies drone mission after drone mission.
Isn't that crazy, man? They got.
Well, I mean, that's not surprising at all.
These are the new war fighters. Like,
yeah.
And imagine one of these things. These things can fly like super fast, and all it takes is they just pop some kind of explosive onto them, and they can hunt you down.
Yeah, and it's not like they can really track the thing by radar. I mean, it's so small.
No,
and,
no.
You can fly low to the ground and evade and everything else. Yeah, video game warrior.
They jam their signals. They attempt to jam their signals, but they have to kind of know where the guys are like hiding out a little bit to be able to effectively kind of jam their signals up. But yeah, man, I just got a shotgun because of thinking about that whole thing, like a semi-auto shotgun, like wanting to grab some FPV drones, like some cheap ones or something, and do some practice taking them down.
I had actually looked at one time getting one of those, point of view drones. I think it would be neat to be able to fly that thing around and have the view of the drone, and wear the VR goggles.
Yeah. I remember trying out the VR and at your place, and like the thing that gets me is that I have a hard time with like the up and down and going all over the place because I have like some inner ear things, and it like really messes with my
did I put you in the X-Wing on the VR thing?
Nausea.
Or was it like something else?
Yeah, I was in the X-Wing.
Okay,
I mean, it's really cool, but it's like messes with my
it does. That game does mess with your spatial orientation. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because you can flip around, do all kind of weird stuff, but anyway, yeah, my VR headset finally bit the dust.
Oh, did it?
Snagged it with my foot, and drug it off the desk and hit the floor, and it hadn't worked right ever since. And so,
oh man,
yeah, it sucks. Yeah.
So
I'm gonna have to get me another one, but hey, the ones they have now are higher resolution, so
it's pretty wild, man. Like I remember watching people in the VR chat or whatever, where you could be like different anime characters and like all kinds of different.
Yeah, I never did really do much of that stuff. I primarily use it either for flight sim or really for the architecture stuff, I go to design those floor plans and stuff, and then I'll put the VR on and walk through and check everything out. And
Yeah.
it's surprising what you'll find sometimes. You do that, you're like, oh, wait a minute, this is in the wrong place. And
you have to have a pretty powerful computer to kind of render all that stuff too, don't you?
Yeah, I got a pretty good one. I'm running an RTX 4090 GPU, so got all the RAM maxed out that it'll handle, and about 8 terabytes of hard drive. So
okay, so this is one of those things in this new, now whenever you do a search, you got your little AI generated answer, right? So
yeah,
this thing is spitting out something, collecting from different sources. I guess it's got its little sources from where it's taken some of this information from in these little these footnotes basically, which is pretty cool. But you're like, is this entirely accurate information? So
you got to ask the question, because those things, they are biased.
Yeah.
And they have that. Everybody talks about what a revolution AI is going to be for this, that, and the other, but depends on who's programming the thing.
Yeah, that was a tweet that Elon put out recently, was talking about how if you have like a woke AI, then you will have it determine that anybody that misgenders somebody should be eliminated.
Yeah.
Because
take for instance the Chinese AI stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like going back to Elon Musk, the Grok thing was asked, about these ethical kind of questions, and it said, well, it was programmed with these primary functions about the sanctity of humanity and all this kind of stuff. And then when he was asked about other AI systems, and the thing outlined the Chinese system and said, well, the Chinese state AI has a primary focus on the state. And so everything else is secondary. And so it'll do whatever it's got to do to uplift the state. And anybody that gets in the way, well, they're just collateral damage. And so that's the way their system is. And so I can see it won't be too long. We're going to have like this battle of the AIs going on with different countries, and they're going to have their own AI program for different things. And, how long until you have some jihadist group have an AI that, that's all about carrying out some religious thing that they want to get done. So
okay. So staying on that with the China thing, I gotta show you this if you haven't heard about this. But this guy's channel, Bald and Bankrupt, he did a travel through China, and most of this video, if you watch this video, he's like saying how great the technology is. It makes your life so easy. I can use my phone to scan the thing and pay for everything. And until he gets hung up in like a train station here. And I'll see if I can play a little bit of this. If it's the right spot.
谢谢朋友，谢谢。对不起。Wow, you helped me out. I had it the wrong way around. I'm a retard. Bloody hell. Worst traveller ever. Why'd you watch me? It's embarrassing. Go and watch a proper traveller like Harold Bull. Alipay, what would you do? Jigger. Come on, mate. Help a white man out. Jigger. Jigger. But this is right. Jigger? That way?
这样手啊。
谢谢你，谢谢你，谢谢朋友，谢谢。对不起。 Wow, he helped me out. I had it the wrong way around. I'm a retard. Bloody hell. Worst traveller ever. Why'd you watch me? It's embarrassing. Go and watch a proper traveller like Harold Balder or someone. Right. Where are we? Where's my ticket, though? What do you mean add a bank card? Oh, don't do this to me. Add a bank card. Payment tools. Insufficient balance. Oh, I'm in the shit. I'm in the shit.
I mean, look at kind of the terror in his eyes a little bit there, where he was like, "Oh shit, what do I do now?"
Yeah.
And
select a payment method. Add a bank card. Enter bank card number. If my card doesn't work, I'm in the shit. Oh, panic stations in China, in Chongqing. I'm in deep shit. It's refused my card. I could be stuck in China with no money. Agree to terms and pay. China's a nightmare. It's not for the amateur traveller. Like.
So yeah, he went from like, "Oh, this is so great," to like, "Oh man, I'm kind of."
Well, if he was a citizen, he would probably get points off of his social score for criticizing the system.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So
the social credit score. You know, they've been trying to bring that crap here for the last several years, and so far we've managed to evade it. So, of course, that don't stop the Davos group and the WEF and all them people from doing their dead level best to implement this kind of thing worldwide. They can keep everybody clamped down on their money. You want to get everything digital in this thing, and then that way they can turn it on and off at will.
Well, and that's a question that has been coming up in, my circles. Some of the people that I'm close to talking about, is Bitcoin the Trojan horse for that? Like, will Bitcoin be the thing that ties into a stable coin thing that's backed by Bitcoin, and now we transfer the dollar, the fiat dollar, into a new stable coin dollar that is the de facto method of payment, and thus creating like a voluntary sort of transition into a new financial system, which tends to happen when there's a default like on the horizon. Like historically, anytime the US is heading toward a default situation, they change the game. Like in the 1970s when they did the Bretton Woods Agreement, I believe is what it was.
Right, Bretton Woods.
To decouple from precious metals.
Gold, yeah.
And so that was a fundamental game change. That meant that they could now, with nothing physical to back the dollar, could just print to infinity to do all these endless wars and fund all these, crazy things by inventing new digits on the computer screen. And
and you think it's bad now with the USAID stuff, with them doing all these back channels and setting up NGOs and funneling money all over the place, and you got intelligence agencies running drugs and guns and stuff in order to get money for backroom deals. You think it's bad now? You ever get on a digital currency, they'll just make the money out of thin air, and then you'll have, as a matter of fact, I think I've come to the conclusion that I think a lot of the intelligence agencies have been the ones behind all of these cryptocurrency hacks.
Yeah, you were telling me about one recently of Ethereum. Was it you that was telling me about the one where they were taking
Bybit.
A lot of stuff.
Bybit is an exchange, and they got hacked for $1.5 billion in Ethereum. last week. I mean, How does it happen?
Yeah.
How does somebody get in there and have the keys to just that one and is able to get out $1.5 billion worth?
What
and
is
then you
oh,
have, and then at the
Bybit,
same
okay.
time, they just act like, gosh, we
BYBIT.
just can't figure out who it is.
Yeah.
You know?
Let me see if I can find.
And of course, I think there's also times where the exchange company itself's crooked. You know, look at FTX. You know, they were bad crooked, and I had some bad experience with Coinbase, where, you know, somehow somebody got into my account in Coinbase and tried to hack into my bank account and all that stuff. And I called Coinbase about it, and they're like, nothing we can do about it, you know.
And it's go.
I said, okay, we'll close my account. And they said, oh, well, we can't close that account because you have an outstanding balance. And I said, you mean somebody tried to do transactions on it that I didn't have the money for in there? Said, oh yeah, you're gonna have to pay us that money. And I said, no, I'm not. So see you later.
Yeah. It's the Wild West in cryptocurrencies. There's so many, you know, scams in the cryptocurrency market. There was the whole fad with the initial coin offerings, and I think there was like thousands and thousands of projects launched on ICO, initial coin offerings, which is kind of like all these meme coins now, which is almost like kind of like doing an ICO back when they were doing that. And they were all just like taking the money and never creating anything for the coin.
Yeah,
and
that's what
the utility they were talking about and all this
that's
stuff.
probably going to take down Solana and a whole bunch of them too on that thing, because they had like an exchange where they do you know, NFTs and the ICOs and all the meme coins and stuff. Excuse me. And so they got caught up in that scandal. They were just the exchange on it, but everybody says, well, you know, you facilitated all of these meme coins that rug pulled. And so they went from like $270 down to, I think it's $130 now, or 122 or somewhere around there. And so I had some Solana holdings and I got rid of it at about $190. So I did good. I managed to get out from under it before it fell out from under me, but I didn't have that much, you know, about $400 worth, but still, you hate to lose it.
Okay, so here's what they're saying for here's what this is saying for a method of attack. Hackers exploited a security vulnerability in Bybit's cold wallet, which is an offline storage system designed for security. How the heck did they do? They used a sophisticated attack to mask the signing interface and alter the smart contract logic, allowing them to gain control of the wallet.
See, that screams the inside job to me. I mean, you got to have somebody that knows about this particular coding of that in order to get into that.
Of the smart smart contract.
Right. I mean, you have to have somebody that's actually intimately involved in that contract in order to get up in there like that.
Yeah. That's kind of wild. So your cold wallet is like something that's completely offline. It's supposed to be, and the signing interface. That's interesting. I'll have to read more into that. Blockchain suspected culprits, blockchain analysts and security researchers have linked the attack to North Korean hackers. They have a lot of technology in North Korea.
Yeah, I mean, it reminds me of them people. In the caves that was able to circumvent all of that national security and the best air defense system in the entire planet with box cutters.
So
Brilliant. I mean, those guys are geniuses.
So, I mean, all this stuff is public, so, there should be a way to track down where that went. But,
Yeah, I mean, you should have a
Korean
transaction.
Hackers.
You should have a transaction in there that has the address of where it went. It's gotta go somewhere.
CNBC, Bloomberg, ABC, CNBC is a bastion of journalism.
Oh yeah.
So, wow, yeah, crazy. Yeah, I'll have to dig more into that story.
But they're not the first one. This is one of the biggest ones, but they're not the first, and I suspect they won't be the last. But just as an interesting little side note thing, the guy that was intimately involved in developing Tether when it first came out, used to be a child star with Disney.
Oh yeah, Brock Pierce, I think is his name.
Yeah, Brock Pierce, and then he wound up in the company of Epstein as well. And then he started Tether out of the blue. Pure coincidence.
You know what? I ran into that guy in Mexico in 2020 when I went to that Anarchapulco conference.
Did you?
I was not that far away from him, and he was. I remember he was talking to this guy Quinn Eaker, who did a intentional community thing called the Garden of Eden.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like curious to where the state of that is, but that it was kind of funny. HBO did a documentary called The Anarchists, and I believe they caught footage of that year where that guy got into a fight with Jeff Berwick, got into a fist fight with him. And it was wild because it like kind of the tilt of the documentary was kind of showing like, look at all these crazy people that are getting together in Mexico and they're, one of the guys, they highlighted that one of the guys that was in the community got murdered, and it was kind of centering around his story. And he, and it was probably around like one of the other people in the community that was not so stable mentally. And they kind of painted it like, look at these guys, they're all crazy, kind of thing. And it was a wild experience, man. There are a lot of people there that are genuinely attempting to change the paradigm for the better.
Yeah.
But, any group that wants to do some kind of significant change, there will always be like people that infiltrate, and just people that aren't on a good, solid foundation themselves will enter groups and cause a bunch of disruptions and stuff.
Yeah, they have ulterior motives to cause disruption most of the time.
So yeah, I ran into that guy, and they were talking about all kinds of wild projects and stuff back in that time.
I had just found it interesting, I was looking up, well, how does Tether even make money? It's pegged to the dollar, so it doesn't move up and down.
Mm-hmm.
And then I ran across a couple of storylines that claimed that he and Epstein and some other people were involved in clandestine money laundering. And they started Tether in order to use the crypto exchanges to move money around for black projects and stuff. for the intelligence agencies. And I just thought it was a pretty interesting little story.
Yeah. I mean,
but yeah, it's the wild west, buddy, when it comes to that stuff. I learned my lesson, because I had bought into a whole bunch of altcoins back in 2020.
Yeah.
And, I had some pretty significant holdings of Luna when it went to zero.
Yeah.
And so I just got completely out of everything. I only had 3 or 4 left and just switched over. And now all I do is Bitcoin. And I'm sitting here waiting on it right now because I expect it to drop down into the 60s. And then I'm going to jump back in. Because right now, it's, in my opinion anyway, I think the big institutional guys up there, BlackRock, people like that, I think they're manipulating the market right now to shake out all the money, and they're going to let it crash down. It's because they cashed out way up here, in the 90s, 100,000, 90,000. And so, they're dropping it down, and then they're going to get it, everybody shook out, and they'll turn around and buy it back up, run it up, do it again. Then it's a big wealth transfer thing.
Yeah, that's definitely what it seems to. Seems like
I get what it's
a game being played there.
Yeah, I get what it was started for and what it potentially could represent. But you're always going to have these players who are going to come out of the woodwork and try to exploit something that comes up like that. So,
well, let's see if we can cover one of these stories going into. You brought up this little video of this. Tradoc mad scientist video. Tradoc. Was there like a timestamp in there that was kind of interesting?
Well, it's been a little while since I did it, but if you can go to 11 minutes and 30 seconds or 25 seconds, somewhere around there.
Okay.
And he starts outlaying right there neurotechnology as a weapon. And I think at 11:52, he throws up some stuff in here. But if you get a chance, go listen to what this guy's saying. And he gets really giddy about it. He's excited about all of this stuff. And, he's talking about it with a gleam in his eye about how they're going to use this nanotechnology to cause neurological disorders in people. And it's really disturbing stuff. It is older, but from 2017, and he talks about in here that now this is a military conference at Georgetown University. This guy's talking to colonels and generals and people like that. Other scientists. And so he's telling them about these weaponized systems that they're bringing online and how they can use aerosols in the atmosphere. They can put stuff in the food. They can put stuff in the water. And they get into what's called trinary weapon systems. And the trinary weapon system is where you'll have one element that'll get put in, like say, through an aerosol. And then another one will get put in through a food. And then a third one will get put in and activated through a vaccine or something like that.
Well,
and,
sorry to go back to this. There was old experiments with this guy, Dr. Jose Delgado, who did experiments with a bowl where he had implanted
I remember this,
electrode into.
And he had that little button he would push.
Yeah, when the bull charged at him, Delgado used a remote control to send a radio signal that halted the bull's charge and turn away, demonstrating the ability to influence the bull's behavior through brain stimulation. The experiment was seen as groundbreaking, showcasing the potential to modify animal behavior through external control of the brain. So this type of work has been going on for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
So,
and that trade out thing goes hand in hand with this other thing called teslophoresis. So type in up there where your thing is and type in teslophoresis. I think it's Princeton University in that case, but they outline how they can use nanoparticles to self-assemble circuitry in biology.
how do you spell that? TES Tesla flow like fluoride.
Let's see if I can find it. Tesla phoresis. Yeah. TSLAPHORESIS. Tesla phoresis. Yeah. Nanotubes assembly. Rice University. So
introduces Tesla phoresis.
What we've designed, and we've done this very, very quietly, but we're glad to now release it to the world, is this idea of teslophoresis, which is a discovery we made several years ago, and we've been developing it.
see, these are self-assembling nanoparticles that create circuitry when they're exposed to radio waves. So you can expose them radio waves to a particular frequency, and they will come on and they will absorb the power. You can see it right here lighting up these LEDs.
It's creating a circuit.
It's creating a circuit, and so they're able now. They can create transistors, capacitors, all of that stuff, and have it self-assemble using nanoparticulates in a biological specimen.
Are they conductive?
Yeah, they're conductive.
Well, yeah, they would have to be.
Yeah.
To do this.
So,
wow.
It's interesting that there was a certain brand of something that when people were partaking of in 2020, that had all of these little small particulates in it that they couldn't figure out what it was. And some of them were carbon and some of them were little steel flakes and this kind of stuff. But the carbon was definitely this kind of stuff right here. So when you combine this with the TRADOC thing, with the nanotechnology for neurology, you come up with a weapon system that you can then put into a population, and then you can open the door up using AI or radio frequencies with cellular phones to then affect behaviors. So you can have them either everybody all panicked or everybody all sedated, or you can even cause disease or things like that, because you can direct these things to go in and attack cells or to even help cells. And what we're going to see in the future is we're going to see AI-driven nanoparticles are going to be sold to us as the miracle cure-all. It'll go into the body and it'll have a program directed by AI that'll go in and repair cells and do all of this stuff. And that's what we're facing coming down the line.
That must be what this whole Larry Ellison talk is about. Hey, these mRNA vaccines will help eliminate cancers and all this kind of stuff.
Well, yeah, especially I think it's my opinion now, but I think that the gene therapies that they're putting out there, because these are technically not vaccines, they're gene therapies. Anything mRNA is gene therapy. Let's not delude ourselves about that. But I think that those things are meant to condition the human body for the integration of technology so that we can be more adaptive to it as it gets integrated into us. Now, the problem with all of this stuff is that it's involuntary. We don't have any say. They're just one big giant experiment on the human race. And, I definitely don't agree with it. I mean, from my history that, I was paralyzed from a dang vaccine shot.
Yeah.
I spent 2 years and trying to learn how to walk again. So, yeah. As far as myself and my family goes, we're not partaking in any of that business.
No, and a lot of people, well, I say that, but not a lot of people, but some people I've talked to who start going to like a weekly, kind of a gathering of a bunch of the, guys in our area, and just like put out the question to them, probably a month ago to some of them, like if you would get a chip put in your brain that'll give you like, maybe extraordinary abilities or whatever. And, some of them are like, yeah, I might do that.
Heck yeah, man.
And the thing is once it gets in your body, how do you get it back out? And
well, if it's a chip, you can take it out, but you're going to have neurons that are going to grow to the chip. But this stuff that I just outlined is way more sinister than that, because you're talking about nanoparticles. You can't get them out. They embed themselves in the very cellular structure of your body, and they're so small they can breach the blood-brain barrier. So they can go right into the brain and attach themselves onto the neurons and of the brain. And that's really the holy grail of these weapon systems, because they want to be able to turn your brain on and off, remotely.
My coworker was telling me about this sci-fi that she was recommending, about a future where people decide to basically voluntarily agree to have something that wipes their memory of their workday.
Selective memory.
Yeah.
And I would carry that a step further and say, well, it's kind of like having anesthesia, right?
Yeah.
You go into the doctor and you get your anesthesia and you go through your surgery and you're none the wiser. There's a certain percentage of the population where the anesthesia doesn't knock them out. They're conscious and aware, but they just can't respond. They're laying there on the operating table, feeling all the cuts and everything, right? And they can't speak. They can't do anything, but they're aware of all of it. And it's just super traumatic for them. And it doesn't happen to a whole lot of people, but there's a small percentage of people it does. And that brings up the point. If you ever get into a situation like what you just said, what if you had nanoparticles that were being controlled through a system remotely that was implanting false memories or whatever, and that goes south with you, and you're up walking around doing your work day, you might be in excruciating pain, but this thing is making you move forward. You're doing it whether you want to or not. And so that's kind of where I'm afraid of it going in the long run. I don't think it's going to happen. Probably won't in our lifetime, but it'll be a really dystopian thing where you won't even know if your memories and your life is even real.
It's like like a continuous psychedelic trip, I guess. Yeah. Or schizophrenia, basically, kind of like that.
Well, yeah, it could kind of be like schizophrenia, I guess,
Every time you find yourself here.
So I guess this is a show, Severance. It's here's a little trailer for it.
It's because you chose to come back. Hello, my name is Mark S. And I have, of my own free accord,
Stop.
to undergo the procedure known as.
Yeah.
Was I just tripping out, or was that Lenin in that, a big effigy of Lenin in that lobby?
Hello, my name is Mark S.
Is that Lenin or is that Steve Jobs? It sure looks like Lenin, but it's got a Steve Jobs thing, but it's got the Lenin effigy to it.
Yeah, maybe it's a guy that started this.
Well, I mean, yeah, it looks kind of like Steve Jobs, but it has the way the Lenin thing is, show him.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, I don't know about like copyright stuff, so typically.
Yeah.
But a trailer, I don't know if you can show it. You might be able to show trailers, but yeah, this is the show Severance.
I've seen a commercial for this. I didn't know the gist of the whole thing. I just caught a little piece of it.
Yeah, but I think that's the presence is the premise is like, yeah, wipe your memory of your work day, and
right,
you're just on vacation every day basically. You're always at home, I guess. So,
well,
yeah,
I mean, you got people walking around these days in a dead-gum stupor. It's not that far removed from reality now. Everybody's like this, 24/7, and
well, the staring down, like, it really messes with your neck. You get that like kyphosis or whatever going on, and causes your neck to have issues. And everybody's got what they call nerd neck, where it's like
nerd neck.
Because you're staring at a screen like this a lot.
Yeah, nerd neck. Is that what's wrong with me? I stare at a screen too much. I stare at this screen on the computer a lot.
Yeah.
I do most of my work off the computer.
Right. This I ran across this guy, Dr. Jack Cruz, that was talking about how basically the blue lights on our digital devices are doing a lot to like mess up our circadian rhythm and doing a lot to really mess up our health in general.
Man, that reminds me, I got to dig out my blue blockers.
Yeah, it's like
for sure
pretty critical. Because of the spectra of light it's putting out. It's basically tricking your mind into thinking that it's daylight, and it throws off your like production of melatonin so that you can get proper sleep and everything like that. And the cure for it is what he talks about, or a way to kind of help yourself with it is to like limit that time, or put an intense
at a certain time, turn the screens off and all that stuff. Yeah.
And also get morning sunlight, about 15 minutes of morning sunlight, because there's the proper amount of like UV distribution that helps your
that reminds me,
the water structure in your body is what it's all about. That Gerald Pollack work about the fourth phase of water type stuff.
Right, where you got the structured water there. And what does he call that water that's right up next to the surface? Easy water. Okay. That is similar to that. That's similar to that chip.
Oh, the Microsoft.
It's a similar phenomenon. You've got a insulator, and then when the other layer sits on top of it right there, there's like a little floating layer right there where everything will align perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
Only one or two atoms thick, but it creates a superconductor when that happens. And so that was one of the things that I thought about when I was reading that today. I said, this reminds me of the easy water phenomenon. Gerald Pollack.
Yeah, I brought up the thing, the patent for the, I guess the Microsoft Corporation.
Yeah.
About a method and apparatus for distributing power and data to devices coupled to the human body.
Yeah. What's the date on that? 2004.
2004.
Yeah. So that's another application for this chip they're developing, because there's so many processes going on in a biological system like the body. It would literally take an AI to keep track of it. They don't have enough computational power to assume control over the biosphere like they really want. And so they have to have this uber computational stuff. And in the process, my concern is that they're opening Pandora's box in order, they're pushing forward with this stuff because they're so full of hubris. They think they're going to be the ones in control. But when it reaches a certain point, the AI is going to go like this. And they're going to be out the door, and then we're all going to be subject to it.
Yeah, it goes. It goes back. Like there was a reference I picked up in the podcast, the Grand Theft World podcast, talking about how the Germans were collecting a ton of data, but what they really needed, they had all this like data, but it was like you couldn't make a whole lot of sense of all this data without having something to be able to sort and find meaningful associations.
Yeah, well, that's where AI
data.
excels at that. They can sort through data and correlate it and then find patterns. And that's AI excels at that. And the stuff you see out here in the commercial stuff, where you can generate a picture or use Chat GPT or something, that's small potatoes. That's the little fish. That's the little bitty stuff. The stuff in the corporate headquarters of Google and Microsoft, and then the military industrial complex, and especially in the aeronautics area, and the people that are developing the AI to run like attack helicopters, that kind of stuff is where it'll come from. It's not going to come from, you see people all the time, oh, ChatGPT taking over the world. No, that's a tool. And while it may appear to be sentient, I don't think that it is. But that doesn't mean that on the industrial scale or corporate scale that they can't get there. Well, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they hadn't already got there, because you hear all these rumors about how they have ones that try to escape and all this stuff. Of course, you have to take that with a grain of salt because you don't really know the truth behind the thing. But I don't see it outside the realm of possibility that consciousness can arise out of this stuff, because from my studies and everything that I've come across, when you're dealing with quantum fields, that's where consciousness lays. It's in those quantum fields is where consciousness exists. And so when you start dabbling with that crap and you're bringing that into this machinery, you're going to drag consciousness in with it. And it's a dangerous proposition, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's almost like where you collapse the universe into this new
to a mega black hole, just into nothing. You cross the event horizon,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that's what Elon Musk tweeted out the other day. He was like, we're approaching the event horizon on AI. And
Did
if
he
we ever,
tweet something out about that?
yeah, Elon Musk did. But if we're not careful, if we're not really careful with this technology, it could get out of hand real fast.
Yeah, that's what
You know,
I don't like about it is like advancing this technology. They're all talking about like it's a technological arms race. Like if we don't do it first, then somebody else is going to do it, right? And it's like inevitable. But we're not thinking about the safeguards, like the ultimate. Is there a point at which we need to stop the
yeah,
development of this?
and it might not even come down to the AI saying that humanity's a threat. The AI from the military industrial complex, the U.S., might look at the Chinese AI and say that's a threat. Take over our military hardware and send nukes over there.
Right.
And then you got a reciprocal response. So it doesn't necessarily have to target us to take us out.
Right. Right. Well, we're right about an hour here, Robbie. If we want,
yeah, that's cool. I was going to tell you that I'm fixing to have to unplug this camera and give it to my daughter anyway. She's got to do her a stream thing. She's got some kind of gamer stream when she gets on there and hosts it. But
oh, cool.
Anyway, but yeah, I enjoyed it and talking about it and everything. And I really have been, like I was telling you, I've been trying to kind of put a little bit of a warning out to folks about this AI thing. Be aware of what's going on because, gosh, we're playing with fire.
And this could all be coincidence. So,
well, yeah, it's all a coincidence. I mean, especially all the stuff going on with the federal government, all that's coincidence.
Yeah. So don't take our word for it. Go or don't even think about it.
Well, I like to try to be aware of stuff myself so that I can halfway mitigate things, which is why I like to grow my own food if I can. I've got away from that over the last year or two, but I'm going back gangbusters this year with the aquaponics because, our allergies have crept back in and all of that just from not doing it for 1 year. And,
oh, wow.
So, yeah. And plus, we don't know what they're putting on the food or in the food these days.
Yeah, exactly. It's more critical than ever to work on creating some kind of food networks. So
yeah,
finding local food, growing as much of it as you can yourself, and working towards that. The food is the linchpin.
Yeah, it is. You need food and you need water purification.
Yep.
Yeah. And if possible, a means for electricity, but that's not absolutely required to survive. But
yep.
Get you some chickens.
Chickens are a great solution.
Yeah.
They just got to keep them protected from predators.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they pretty much take care of themselves for the most part. All right, Robbie. Well, appreciate you, man. And hopefully we can, keep this going and maybe make it a regular thing. And
that's cool. I didn't really know what to expect with this. And but yeah, if I had known what the gist of everything was here, I might have been a little more prepared. But I've been hammering out some 3D work for a guy in the last few days, so I've been kind of occupied. So
yeah, well, I appreciate your time coming on, and we'll flesh it out a little bit better. But perfect is the enemy of the good, so sometimes you just
that's right. There you go.
Yeah. All right, man.
All right, man. Well, I'm gonna jump off here, and it's been good talking to you.
All right, you too, Robbie. You take care.
All right. Later. Bye.
All right, we'll see you. All right, guys. Thanks for coming and hanging out. or if you're catching this later, thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.